You made it. Did it work? Did it work? Asala? Hold on, let me get Asala up here. Hey, what's up, Asala? Can you hear me?
Yo, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. All right, real quick.
What up, Don?
What's good? So the link worked. Like you weren't already a part of the Discord, right?
Nah, I left. I'm broke.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, but it still got you in though, right?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, cool. Wanted to challenge me on, particularly the Trinity, but I'm open to talking about other things as well. So, Asala, did you or X, did you either of you have something you wanted to like challenge me on?
I'll let him go first.
Okay. Asala, how about you?
I mean, not really. I do have a. Can I just ask you a question? Like a random question?
Yeah, sure.
Are we like Jews in the sense of they're just Jew and Gentile? Like, is it still like that today?
So, what? Okay, could you explain more what you mean by that?
Because, in my understanding, looking into scripture, there's like no difference.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Like,
all right.
when the
So
Jews genuinely believe, like they just don't accept Jesus, you know. So what's the difference between a Christian and a Jew in the sense they just don't believe in Jesus? You know what I'm saying?
Right. So, I mean, there are a lot of differences between rabbinical Judaism, which is what the average quote-unquote religious Jew practices, and what I believe a follower of Christ would be practicing. First and foremost, First John tells us, makes it clear that we are to keep the commandments of God, and one such commandment is to believe that Jesus is a Christ. So, in that way, they are breaking the commandments of God. But furthermore, rabbinical Judaism, they have the Talmud, they have added to the Torah, they've taken away from the Torah. So, they're, and they have different sects, just like how in Christianity you have different denominations. They have different rabbis that, teach things differently. And so there is actually, the deeper you get into it, you'll see there is a lot of difference. You know what I mean? They believe the covenant, as far as I understand the covenant, you enter into the covenant by becoming a Jew, right? This is what the whole circumcision thing is about. Like, it's supposed to be your conversion into being a Jew. Like, you being circumcised is literally what saves you, the blood that you shed, because through it you entering into the covenant, right? So you can partake in the promise. So it really does get different the deeper you go. I'm not an expert on Judaism, right? But just from what I've seen, there are a lot of differences between a practicing Christian, even one that keeps Torah, and someone who practices Judaism. Now, when Paul says there is no difference between Jew and Gentile, how I understand it is that there is one gospel and one God and one law for all, right? God doesn't have different rules for these people who have been grafted in, and versus rules from people who were born in to Israel, right? He doesn't have there aren't different messiahs, there aren't different roads to salvation, there is no difference, right? There aren't different standards of right and wrong, sin and not sin. All is the same in the sight of God. And we see this all the way back in the Old Testament, right? All the way back in Leviticus, when a foreigner wants to become a part of Israel and serve under the Most High, he is subject to all the same laws, right? And all the same practices of the Torah. So that's how I understand it. But but there is such a thing, however, as like bloodline Israelites. That is a real thing. But like, if you're trying to talk about race and all that, that is a real thing. But in the context of the scriptures and the point that I think Paul was trying to make, I believe he was trying to make the point that, there is one gospel for all. You know what I'm saying? So So that's how I understand it. But here, let me thank you for your question, brother.